Now, say my name.
This is Breaking Bad, one of the small screen's most hallowed achievements.
You're damn right.
The show heralded the status quo we're currently living through, what we commonly refer to as peak TV. Or at least, we used to be living through it. Are we still? Is TV still amazing? It used to be, but now it kind of feels like the attributes that made the shows we all love so fantastic have ruined everything.
So what, no ZD now? Hey!
Television. The small screen, originally introduced in the late 1920s, but not widely adopted until the 1950s. For the majority of its existence, television shows were produced under an advertiser model. Comedies, action-adventure shows, quiz shows, the news, and countless other variety of programs, all put out on the airwaves for free. And the idea that the companies producing these shows would make money off advertisers paying to tell people about their goods or services during pre-planned breaks. That's how you got shows like the Colgate Comedy Hour, or the term soap opera, named for the fact that the daytime melodramas were heavily sponsored by detergent brands targeting stay-at-home mothers.
As the world turns. Brought to you today by Ivory Soap.
For about the first 50 years of the medium's existence, this is the way things worked. Half-hour shows with 22 minutes of story and 8 minutes of commercials, and these shows were usually produced with 22-episode-long seasons. People watched them, were exposed to advertisements, and theoretically bought the products. The cycle repeated. Unions sprung up and cut deals to ensure that the creatives working in the various industries were cut in on profits, and residuals were paid if the shows were screened repeatedly after their initial run. These positive moves forward were hard-won, and sometimes took decades to come to fruition. Well, this all started to shift when basic cable was introduced. Viewers could pay for premium channels and circumvent the ad-supported model.
It's over, Lemon. They're selling NBC to a company called Cabletown, with a K.
In order to keep people coming back, these premium cable channels started exploring new ways to convert viewers. And of course, this is where we find our first big turning point, The Sopranos. The show, following the life of a New Jersey mob boss, was character-driven and filled with things you couldn't see on your standard network TV show. However, due to the fact that HBO wasn't a massive network yet, they couldn't afford to produce the show at the cadence of regular TV shows. Thus, the 13-episode season was introduced. From here, other shows would eventually follow suit. Mad Men, Breaking Bad, Walking Dead, and countless others all adopted this same business model. Initially, this was fine. These were more bespoke efforts, premium or basic cable shows that were targeted at a more mature audience.
Oh, where's the f***ing money?
Oh, get the money!
I know you'll get the f***ing money.
When the streaming era started and Netflix wanted to prove that their platform could make TV better than any TV you could see anywhere else, what did they do? They copied this playbook. Orange is the New Black and House of Cards both opted for 13-episode length seasons. And it worked. The shows were also released with a new improvement over what had come before. All 13 episodes were available at once. Netflix had noticed a trend that people wanted to watch the show straight through, and so they were hell-bent on making shows for this new binge-watch culture, and it worked. People loved it. Not only were the shows a success, but they basically redefined how shows were made.
We're not okay. This is not fine.
Good. Now we can talk about it.
But here's the catch. As almost every show being produced started to pivot to this production model, not all the creators had the same vision and facility as David Fincher and Jenji Kohan. The shows started to sag. They couldn't keep up with the level of pacing and quality. This downturn is most significantly represented in the Marvel Studios Netflix collaboration. When Marvel announced they were going to be producing 4 separate TV shows and a crossover show with Netflix, the fan base was initially overjoyed. And then as the show started to come out, the beginning of the season would be great. The middle would sag and feel like it was cobbled together out of filler ideas, and then the end would be strong. Unless you're talking about Iron Fist, and then the whole thing just sucks beyond belief. But this structuring issue would be quickly dubbed the Netflix problem, and it began to be a constant across all shows made in the streaming era.
Not everyone deserves a happy ending.
So not only is it a problem that shows are by and large all shorter now, but they also suffer from these bizarre pacing issues. Paramount bet big on the Star Trek IP, greenlighting 5 separate shows set in Gene Roddenberry's not too far off future, and all of them are 10-episode seasons. Star Trek Strange New Worlds, a prequel to the original series, should have been a 22-episode Adventure of the Week show, and yet it's not. Why? Who knows? It's not because that's just not fashionable, even though the style and subject matter of the show practically demands it.
Suffering can be transformed into insight.
Shorter seasons are bad for actors who can't afford to live in Los Angeles. They're bad for writers who both can't afford to live on the work they're given, but are often put into holding deals so they literally can't write on other shows while waiting to hear about season pickups and renewals. They're bad for studios because production timelines are just as long, if not longer, but the show yields half the viewers, due to seasons being half the length. And they're bad for audiences because there's simultaneously less of the show they love, and there's less time for the creators involved to figure out the idea they're making.
This is bad. You understand how bad this is.
Seriously, are we gonna get canceled? I just bought a mattress.
Think about the fact that so many of your favorite shows take a season or two to figure out what it is. Writers, actors, and directors aren't robots. It's not like you just input make good show and it spits out high-quality, dazzling work. It's not math, it's magic. You need time to mix and match elements, to play around and splash paint on the canvas. Star Trek: The Next Generation didn't get good until season 3. That's 74 episodes into the run. Wanna guess how many episodes of Star Trek Discovery there are in total? 65. Over 5 seasons. No wonder the show never got good.
Guilty on all counts.
Is there anything you would like to say in your defense?
I was raised to believe that service was my purpose, and I carried that conviction to Starfleet.
In theory, shorter seasons seem like a great idea. They allow the modern adult viewer to not have to sink hours and hours and hours of their time into watching a specific show. You can get a whole beginning, middle, and end of a season in roughly 10 hours, but that requires a tightrope walking on the creative front that is almost impossible to accomplish. Take Rings of Power, for instance. It's quite literally the most expensive TV show ever produced, and yet, even with the most amazing directors and writers on the planet, it's still pretty weak due to the simple fact that all the theoretical planning and outlining in the world isn't going to just make the show good.
My hand is past feeling.
No. This place is so evil, our torches give off no warmth.
How many times has Vince Gilligan said that he didn't have a plan for Breaking Bad? They found it as they went.
And I'm not going to sit here and say we always got it right at Breaking Bad, because we probably didn't.
Same thing for comedy legend Michael Schur. In a Vanity Fair interview, he called this problem of shorter seasons the single biggest issue facing the future of television production. In the interview, he outlines multiple issues covering many of the topics we've discussed here today, but one of his most salient points is that it is exceedingly rare for a show to go for many, many seasons. Using the example of The Office, he points out that Jim and Pam didn't kiss until episode 28. He then posits, imagine that is just the end of your show, not the beginning.
Because of Amazon and Netflix, they're just full on saying like, this is a drug and we are trying to hook you on the drug. And when you get to the end of the hit, it's like, what's gonna make you watch another one?
That's such a succinct way of putting it. Television today is supposed to be the Wild West. It's supposed to be a limitless canvas where artists and storytellers can craft compelling narratives in a way they just can't on the feature film side of things. And yet, is peak TV still a thing? Are we living through a golden age anymore? Or have we matured past it? And now we're living in whatever happens after the golden age. That's all we got for this episode. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more episodes of Nerdstalgic.